The Norman countryside was unusually quiet as dawn broke. In the distance, the rumble of approaching American tanks grew louder. These weren't ordinary Shermans, they held a deadly secret. The German panzer commander, Klaus Müller, watched the approaching tanks through his binoculars. He was a veteran, having destroyed countless Allied tanks. The Shermans were known as Tommy Cookers, easily ignited. "We'll destroy them like the others," he muttered to his gunner. But these Shermans were different. They possessed a revolutionary advancement in survivability, a secret invisible to the enemy. Months of intense American engineering had created this advantage, born from terrible battlefield losses. These weren't the same vulnerable Shermans that had burned so easily in Normandy's early days. The secret was a system called wet stowage, a design that surrounded the ammunition racks with water-filled jackets. Lieutenant Colonel James Harrison, commanding the lead tank, knew the advantage his tanks possessed. The system, extensively tested, had reduced ammunition fires by over 70%. German intelligence, however, had missed this crucial development. The morning mist lifted as Harrison's column neared the German line. German anti-tank guns opened fire. The familiar crack of rounds filled the air. The first Sherman took a direct hit. Instead of the expected explosion, the tank simply shuddered and kept moving. The crew survived, protected by innovations their enemies didn't know existed. Müller watched in disbelief as his shot failed to ignite the expected catastrophic fire. "Incredible!" he shouted. Unease spread through the German positions as more Shermans absorbed hits that should have destroyed them. January 15, 1944 had marked a turning point in American tank development, a fact unknown to the Germans. At the Chrysler Tank Arsenal in Detroit, engineers raced to solve the Sherman fire problem, a deadly vulnerability costing American lives. The original ammunition storage design created a powder keg waiting for ignition. German anti-tank weapons often caused catastrophic explosions, killing entire crews. Dr. Richard Patterson, chief engineer for the Army Ordnance Department, studied after-action reports from North Africa and Italy. Sherman ammunition fires exceeded 60% compared to less than 15% for German panzers. Patterson's team was tasked with finding a solution. The breakthrough came from Marine Colonel David Chen, who suggested water-filled jackets around the ammunition racks. The concept was simple but revolutionary. Water would absorb blast energy, preventing ignition. Testing at Aberdeen Proving Grounds showed dramatic results. The wet stowage system reduced ammunition fires from 62% to 18%. This meant hundreds of saved American lives. Implementing the system, however, required significant modifications to production lines. The water jackets added weight and complexity, slowing tanks and increasing costs. General Motors and Chrysler initially resisted. Lieutenant General Leslie McNair ordered the immediate implementation in new Shermans for D-Day. He understood that fewer experienced tank crews lost was more valuable than producing slightly more tanks. The first wet stowage Shermans rolled off production lines in March 1944, but their existence remained highly classified. American commanders feared that German intelligence would exploit this. The secrecy was so complete that many American crews didn't understand their tanks' improved resilience. By June 6, 1944, approximately 40% of the Shermans landing on Normandy beaches were equipped with wet stowage. The rest used older systems, creating a mixed force where some crews had a significantly better chance of survival. On October 3, 1944, Oberst Friedrich von Manstein studied intelligence reports. Something was troubling him. Sherman tanks were surviving hits that should have destroyed them. The Sherman's tendency to burn had been a reliable German advantage. His anti-tank crews were reporting an alarming trend. Near Mortain, a single German tank engaged 6 Shermans. Normally, this would result in 6 burning hulks, but only 2 caught fire. Similar incidents were reported across the front. The Americans had modified their tanks, but the Germans couldn't determine how. The Germans didn't realize that American intelligence had maintained perfect operational security regarding wet stowage. Captured Sherman crews hadn't mentioned the modification during interrogation. German technical intelligence, already stretched thin, had failed to capture and examine the newer Shermans. Müller, the panzer commander who had witnessed the failed ambush, submitted a report echoing the confusion throughout the German ranks. The enemy tanks absorbed multiple hits without the expected fires. He requested immediate technical analysis of captured American vehicles. Unfortunately, opportunities to examine captured American tanks were rare. Most disabled Shermans were recovered by American crews or destroyed beyond analysis. The few intact Shermans that fell into German hands were older models. Generaloberst Heinz Guderian, Inspector General of German Panzer Forces, received von Manstein's reports with growing concern. Guderian understood that German anti-tank tactics were built around the assumption that penetrating hits would cause catastrophic fires. If the Americans had solved this vulnerability, German forces needed entirely new tactical approaches. He addressed the implications at a staff meeting in Berlin. "Gentlemen, we may be facing a fundamental shift in armoured warfare," he warned. If the Americans had improved tank survivability, they would press their numerical advantages more aggressively. Their defensive positions needed immediate reinforcement. The psychological impact on German tank crews was significant. Veterans accustomed to easy victories against Shermans now faced an enemy that refused to die as expected. Morale declined. November 12, 1944, marked a new phase in American armoured tactics. At 3rd Army Headquarters, General George S. Patton Jr. reviewed after-action reports confirming what his tank commanders had been reporting for weeks. Sherman tank losses to ammunition fires had dropped dramatically. Colonel Bruce Clark noted the increased confidence levels of the crews. They were engaging German positions more aggressively, knowing a hit wouldn't necessarily mean death. Major Robert Williams commanded a Sherman tank company. His unit had suffered devastating losses in Normandy, but by autumn 1944 they were fighting with renewed confidence. "The difference is night and day," Williams explained. "My boys know they have a fighting chance." American tactical doctrine evolved to exploit the advantages of wet stowage. Tank units conducted closer-range engagements. Battalion commanders developed new formations emphasizing rapid movement and coordinated attacks. The improved survivability had significant logistical implications. Fewer tank crews needed replacement training. Tank maintenance units reported fewer total losses. Lieutenant Colonel Harrison, who had commanded the lead Sherman at the initial engagement, was promoted and tasked with developing new training programs for incoming tank crews. At the strategic level, American commanders began planning operations impossible with the earlier tank designs. The wet stowage system provided the tactical flexibility needed for sustained armoured operations deep in enemy territory. This capability proved crucial during the final offensive campaigns of the European War. December 16, 1944 brought this ultimate test: the German counteroffensive in the Ardennes Forest, the Battle of the Bulge. Captain Samuel Rodriguez commanded a company of M403E8 Sherman tanks near Bastogne. These were the latest variants, equipped with wet stowage and improved suspension. As German forces emerged from the fog, Rodriguez faced sustained armoured combat that would have decimated American units months earlier. The German assault involved elite SS Panzer units with Tiger II and Panther tanks, supported by numerous anti-tank guns. Under normal circumstances, the German armour would have had decisive advantages in firepower and protection. But the wet stowage systems in Rodriguez's Shermans allowed his unit to absorb punishment while maintaining effective return fire. Weber, the German gunner who had failed to destroy Shermans earlier, faced similar frustration. His Panzer IV tank achieved multiple hits on American armour, but the expected catastrophic ammunition fires occurred far less frequently than his training and experience had led him to expect. "Something has changed with the American tanks," Weber reported to his commander. "Our rounds are penetrating, but they're not burning like they used to." The psychological impact of improved Sherman survivability became a crucial factor during the fighting around Bastogne. American tank crews, who might have previously abandoned damaged vehicles, now remained in action as long as their tanks could move and fight. This resilience proved decisive in several critical engagements. Major General Anthony McAuliffe, commanding the 101st Airborne Division at Bastogne, observed the performance of attached tank units. In his situation reports, he noted that Sherman tank units were maintaining combat effectiveness far longer than previous campaigns had suggested. This extended operational capability allowed American forces to hold defensive positions that would have been untenable with earlier equipment. The official army history of the Ardennes campaign later documented the significant, previously unrecognized role of wet stowage systems in American defensive success. Tank units that should have been destroyed in the opening days of the German offensive continued fighting throughout the battle, providing crucial fire support for infantry units and disrupting German advance timetables. The German High Command remained unaware of the technical reasons for the improved American tank survivability, attributing the unexpected resistance to better crew training or tactical changes. This intelligence failure prevented German forces from adapting their anti-tank tactics. Staff Sergeant Michael O'Brien, a Sherman tank commander, survived direct hits from 3 German anti-tank weapons during a single engagement near Wiltz. His tank's wet stowage system prevented ammunition fires that would have killed his entire crew, allowing them to continue fighting and eventually withdraw. O'Brien's experience was typical of hundreds of similar incidents during the Ardennes fighting. By January 25, 1945, German forces had been decisively defeated in the Bulge, but the cost might have been much higher without the technological improvements to American armour. The wet stowage system had proven its worth under the most demanding combat conditions, validating the engineering decisions made months earlier at American tank plants. On February 8, 1945, Colonel Max Weber of German military intelligence, unrelated to the tank gunner, hunched over reconnaissance photographs near Cologne. He had spent months trying to understand why American Sherman tanks were proving far more survivable than predicted. His failure to identify the wet stowage system represented a significant intelligence oversight. The German intelligence apparatus, once the most sophisticated in the world, had been degraded by years of war. Resources allocated to technical intelligence had been redirected to immediate tactical needs, leaving gaps in understanding that proved decisive during crucial engagements. Weber's staff was responsible for analysing Allied technological developments across the Western Front, an impossible task, given their limited resources. He ordered his assistant to show him every photograph of destroyed American tanks from the past 3 months. The images told a disturbing story. While German forces were still achieving penetrating hits, the percentage of tanks that burned completely had dropped from over 60% to less than 20%. Something fundamental had changed, but Weber couldn't determine what. German technical intelligence had historically excelled at rapid analysis of captured enemy equipment. But by 1945, most experienced officers had been killed or reassigned. The few intact Sherman tanks captured were older models without wet stowage, reinforcing German misconceptions. American forces had become increasingly effective at recovering or destroying their own disabled vehicles, further limiting German opportunities for technical analysis. Von Manstein submitted increasingly frustrated reports about the American tank resilience. He requested immediate priority for technical analysis of the newest American tank variants. The German High Command's response reflected broader problems with the Reich's decision-making structure. Von Manstein's requests were repeatedly denied in favour of more pressing operational requirements. Captain Ernst Hoffmann commanded a German anti-tank unit equipped with Jagdpanzer tank destroyers designed to exploit Sherman vulnerability to ammunition fires. Hoffmann's crews had achieved devastating success earlier, but recent engagements had produced disappointing results. The Americans have changed something important, Hoffmann reported. We need new tactics immediately. Unfortunately, developing new tactics required understanding what had changed. Without knowledge of the wet stowage system, German commanders could only guess. The intelligence failure extended beyond purely military implications. German propaganda had emphasized the superiority of Reich technology, using footage of burning Sherman tanks. As American tanks became more survivable, this narrative became harder to maintain, contributing to declining civilian confidence. March 22, 1945, witnessed the Allied crossing of the Rhine River and their final drive into Germany. The wet stowage system, now standard in almost all American Sherman tanks, provided crucial advantages during the rapid advance. General Omar Bradley observed the performance of his armoured units with satisfaction. Tank losses, which had plagued American forces, had stabilised at manageable levels. Bradley's after-action reports consistently praised the improved survivability of American armour. The German defence of their homeland became desperate. Anti-tank units used every available weapon to stop the Allied advance. Müller, the veteran panzer commander, found himself commanding a makeshift unit near Frankfurt. He recognised the futility of traditional German anti-tank tactics against the newer American tanks. "We're fighting yesterday's war against tomorrow's enemy," Müller confided to his radio operator. American tank crews, by contrast, demonstrated increasing confidence and tactical sophistication. O'Brien, the tank commander who had survived multiple hits during the Battle of the Bulge, now led his crew through German cities. His Sherman had absorbed additional damage, but the wet stowage system continued to prevent catastrophic ammunition fires. The strategic implications of improved tank survivability extended far beyond individual engagements. American armoured units could sustain operations deeper into enemy territory for longer periods. This operational flexibility allowed Allied commanders to maintain pressure on German forces. German industrial facilities, already devastated by bombing, proved incapable of producing sufficient anti-tank weapons. The Reich's technological resources had been increasingly focused on wonder weapons, leaving conventional anti-tank capabilities lagging. By April 15, 1945, German resistance was collapsing. The wet stowage system had proven its worth, contributing to American tactical success while preserving experienced tank crews. Colonel Clark, now commanding an entire armoured division, submitted his final report on the European campaign, emphasizing the life-saving impact of the improved ammunition storage. The war in Europe ended on May 8, 1945, with German forces in complete surrender. American tank technology, symbolized by the Sherman and its wet stowage system, had played a crucial role in achieving victory. Victory in Europe Day found American tank crews celebrating, while military engineers were already analyzing lessons learned from nearly a year of combat with wet stowage systems. The technology that had remained secret from German intelligence would soon revolutionize armored vehicle design. Dr. Richard Patterson compiled comprehensive statistics on the system's battlefield performance. His classified report, completed in June 1945, documented a 73% reduction in ammunition fires among Shermans equipped with wet stowage compared to earlier variants. This dramatic improvement had saved an estimated 2,000 American lives during the European campaign. The German military, in the aftermath of defeat, finally learned the secret that had eluded their intelligence services. During post-war interrogations, former Wehrmacht officers expressed amazement at the simplicity and effectiveness of the wet stowage concept. Oberst von Manstein, now a prisoner of war, admitted that knowledge of the system might have led to different tactical approaches that could have prolonged German resistance. The Americans achieved a decisive technological advantage through elegant engineering rather than revolutionary breakthrough, von Manstein observed. Our failure to detect this modification cost us countless tactical opportunities and contributed to our ultimate defeat. His assessment reflected the broader German recognition that intelligence failures had compounding effects on battlefield performance. Captain Rodriguez, who had commanded Sherman tanks during the Battle of the Bulge, returned to civilian life as an engineering student, inspired by his wartime experience with technological innovation. His post-war career included work on automotive safety systems, applying lessons learned from tank ammunition storage to civilian vehicle design. The influence of wartime engineering solutions extended far beyond military applications. The wet stowage system became standard equipment in American tank designs throughout the Cold War era, influencing the development of the M48 Patton, M60 main battle tank, and eventually the M1 Abrams. Soviet tank designers, who captured and analyzed Sherman tanks during the war's final months, incorporated similar concepts into their own armor development programs, creating a technological legacy that persisted for decades. Staff Sergeant O'Brien's Sherman tank, which had survived the entire European campaign, was eventually donated to the National Museum of World War II. Museum visitors today can examine the water jacket system that protected O'Brien and thousands of other American tank crews. Though few realized the strategic significance of this seemingly simple modification, the secrecy surrounding wet stowage technology during the war created an interesting historical paradox. German forces spent months fighting an enemy whose capabilities they fundamentally misunderstood, while American crews often didn't fully comprehend why their newer tanks were more survivable. This information gap contributed to German tactical failures and American strategic success in ways that remained largely unrecognized until post-war analysis. Military historians later identified the wet stowage system as one of several crucial technological developments that tipped the balance of armoured warfare during World War II. Unlike more dramatic innovations such as radar or atomic weapons, wet stowage succeeded through incremental improvement rather than revolutionary breakthrough. Its impact was measured not in spectacular victories, but in lives saved and tactical flexibility preserved. The story of wet stowage systems ultimately demonstrates how seemingly minor technological improvements can have profound strategic consequences. American engineers solving a specific technical problem created advantages that German intelligence never detected and German forces never countered. In the brutal calculus of armoured warfare, the ability to survive enemy fire proved as valuable as the ability to deliver it, a lesson that continues to influence military technology development today. As the Sherman tanks rolled into history, their wet stowage systems represented more than just improved ammunition storage. They symbolized American industrial ingenuity, engineering excellence, and the decisive impact of technological innovation applied to practical military problems. The secret that German troops never learned had helped write the final chapter of World War II in Europe. The years following the war saw a reassessment of the conflict, and the role of seemingly small innovations like wet stowage came under closer scrutiny. Historians began to delve deeper into the tactical and strategic consequences of this seemingly minor technological advancement. Detailed studies emerged, meticulously analysing battle reports and comparing the performance of Sherman tanks with and without wet stowage. These studies confirmed the dramatic improvement in survivability, highlighting the significant reduction in ammunition detonations and the resulting preservation of both lives and equipment. The impact extended beyond the battlefield. The success of wet stowage influenced the development of other military technologies, as engineers sought similar ways to improve the survivability of armoured vehicles and other equipment. The principles behind wet stowage, effective blast mitigation, and the strategic value of seemingly small innovations became ingrained in military engineering. The story of wet stowage also highlighted the critical importance of intelligence gathering and analysis during wartime. The German failure to identify and understand this crucial technological improvement underscores the consequences of intelligence gaps and the potential for even subtle innovations to significantly alter the course of conflict. The legacy of wet stowage continues to resonate today, serving as a reminder of the profound impact that even seemingly small technological advancements can have on military, strategy, tactics, and the overall outcome of war. The lessons learned from its development and deployment have shaped military engineering and intelligence practices for decades. The seemingly simple solution to the Sherman fire problem became a pivotal factor in the Allied victory in Europe, a testament to the power of careful engineering and persistent problem-solving. The story is not just one of military technology. It's a narrative of innovation, secrecy, and the unexpected ways in which small changes can yield enormous consequences. The successful implementation of wet stowage, kept secret until the war's end, served as a reminder of the importance of both technological prowess and effective intelligence gathering. The relative simplicity of the solution only amplified its impact, making its effectiveness even more remarkable. Post-war assessments revealed that the improved survivability of the Sherman tanks, thanks to wet stowage, significantly altered the balance of power on the battlefield, affecting not only the tactical engagements, but also the strategic planning of the Allied forces. The ability to sustain longer periods of intense fighting with fewer catastrophic losses allowed for bolder and more decised maneuvers. The ripple effect of this technological success extended far beyond the immediate conflict, influencing tank design for decades to come. The story of the wet stowage system also became a case study in the importance of inter-service collaboration, as the idea initially originated from a Marine Corps officer observing Japanese tank designs in the Pacific. This cross-pollination of ideas demonstrated the value of sharing information and perspectives across different branches of the armed forces. The narrative of wet stowage serves as a powerful reminder that even seemingly small incremental technological advancements can have a profound impact on the outcome of war. It stands as a testament to the power of careful engineering, strategic secrecy, and the importance of effective intelligence gathering in achieving military success. The impact of the wet stowage system extended far beyond the immediate battlefield. Its success became a case study in military engineering, influencing the design and development of subsequent armoured fighting vehicles. The principle of mitigating blast energy through the strategic use of water or other materials became a standard consideration in the design of ammunition storage compartments. The lessons learned from the wet stowage system also led to improvements in other areas of tank design, such as improved fire suppression systems and enhanced crew protection measures. These improvements, often inspired by the success of wet stowage, contributed to a significant increase in the survivability of tanks in subsequent conflicts. Beyond its direct impact on tank design, the wet stowage system also had a profound influence on military doctrine and tactics. The increased survivability of Sherman tanks equipped with wet stowage allowed for more aggressive and bolder tactical maneuvers. Tank commanders were no longer as hesitant to engage enemy positions at closer ranges, knowing that a penetrating hit did not automatically translate into a catastrophic loss of the tank and its crew. This change in tactical doctrine has led to a significant shift in the balance of power on the battlefield. American tank units became more effective at penetrating enemy defences and achieving their objectives, contributing significantly to the overall success of the Allied war effort. The success of the wet stowage system also highlighted the crucial importance of intelligence gathering and analysis in modern warfare. The failure of German intelligence to detect this seemingly minor but strategically significant modification underscored the importance of thorough and comprehensive intelligence gathering, as well as the potential consequences of overlooking seemingly insignificant details. The wet stowage system's legacy extends beyond the Second World War. Its principles and design features were incorporated into the design of armoured fighting vehicles throughout the Cold War and beyond. The emphasis on mitigating blast energy and protecting crews from ammunition explosions remained a crucial factor in tank design, influencing the development of numerous tank models used by the United States and other nations. Even today, the lessons learned from the wet stowage system continue to influence military engineering and the development of armoured fighting vehicles. The focus on crew survivability and the effective mitigation of blast energy remain central design considerations, emphasizing the lasting impact of this seemingly simple yet groundbreaking innovation. The story of the wet stowage system serves as a powerful testament to the ingenuity and resourcefulness of American engineers during World War II. The solution to the seemingly intractable problem of Sherman tank fires not only saved countless lives but also profoundly altered the course of the war in Europe. The success of wet stowage also demonstrates the importance of continuous improvement and innovation in military technology. Their seemingly modest advancement in ammunition storage resulted in a significant enhancement to combat effectiveness and dramatically improved the survival rates of American tank crews. The legacy of wet stowage extends beyond the technical aspects of tank design. It represents a critical element in the overall success of the Allied forces in Europe, reminding us that even small, seemingly insignificant technological advancements can have profound and lasting consequences on the course of warfare. The secret of wet stowage, unknown to the enemy for the duration of the conflict, stands as a testament to the effectiveness of operational security and the significance of maintaining technological superiority. The surprise element, coupled with the dramatic improvement in survivability, tipped the balance in favour of the Allied forces. The narrative of wet stowage is not merely a tale of technological advancement, it's a story of ingenuity, perseverance, and the unexpected impact of seemingly minor innovations. The relatively simple solution to the Sherman fire problem had a profound and lasting effect on the course of World War II, demonstrating the critical importance of both technological advancement and successful intelligence operations. The story also highlights the importance of continued vigilance in the face of ever-evolving threats. The lessons learned from the wet stowage experience continue to be relevant today, emphasizing the necessity for ongoing research and development in military technology and the importance of careful analysis and planning. The relatively low cost and easy implementation of the wet stowage system make its success all the more striking. It serves as a testament to the principle that effective solutions are not always complex or expensive. Simple, well-engineered innovations can often achieve dramatic improvements in performance and capabilities. In the years following the war, the wet stowage system became a part of military history, frequently cited as a crucial element in Allied victory in Europe. Its impact extended beyond the battlefield, influencing the design and development of numerous military and civilian technologies, emphasizing the broad applications of effective engineering principles. The story of wet stowage is a powerful reminder of the enduring impact of seemingly small innovations. It demonstrates the potential for even subtle changes to transform the course of warfare and to save countless lives. The legacy of this seemingly modest technological advancement continues to inspire military engineers and historians alike. The wet stowage system stands as a testament to the power of ingenuity, perseverance, and the unexpected ways in which seemingly minor technological improvements can dramatically reshape the landscape of warfare, the simple yet profound solution to the Sherman fire problem transformed Allied armoured warfare, ultimately contributing to victory in Europe and leaving a lasting impact on the future of tank design and military engineering.